We will be talking very briefly to a good friend of mine and an amazing person, Chris Johnson, who spent the better part of the last couple of years making an awesome book called A Better Life. That book was so awesome that it became a movie, a documentary called A Better Life also, right? The movie edition. There are dozens of atheist community members and not atheist community members, people that just happen to be non-believers, who Chris got their story. 7 of them are here today. People like Matt Dillahunty and Aaron and Teresa McBain. And what a lot of people are doing is they're getting these books and they're getting people to sign them. And some people have collected the majority of the people in the book, that's an awesome thing to have or to give away. There's very limited quantities of the books available here, but they'll be available tomorrow morning. And I'm sure that Chris and all the people in the book that are here will be more than happy to sign it for you. We're going to bring Chris up here. He's going to talk just for a second, and then we're going to go ahead and start the screening of the movie. So please put your hands together for Chris Johnson.
All right, midnight showing. It's exciting. It's gonna be like Rocky Horror, so you can like scream out stuff during the movie. Who has seen the movie before? Has anybody seen the movie already? Oh, or you're here for a second time, or a third time, or a fourth time. I've seen this movie a lot. So this film started as a book, as was said. It started as an idea. Now, when I was in college, about 10 years ago, that's when the whole new atheist movement kind of came into its own. All the books came out, End of Faith, Letter to a Christian Nation, God is Not Great, God Delusion, all of that, around 2005. And they were wonderful. But one thing kept nagging at me. One thing kept nagging at me, and that was, all these books are talking about what we don't believe. Why there is no God. Why this mic doesn't work. It was all about combating these things that we didn't believe. And did it very well. But there was a piece that was missing. What do we believe? So if there is no God, how does that change your life? How does that make you see other people? How does that make you see yourself? Does it make you afraid of death? Make you not afraid of death? Those are very interesting questions. And also, these books were very intellectual, right? Lots of text, lots of arguments. And so I thought, why not make something that was beautiful? Why not talk about the atheist experience through smiling, happy faces? Because if you're an atheist and you're not happy, and you're not enjoying life because you're an atheist, then is it really best that you're an atheist at that point? I mean, you know, it should affect your life in a positive way. And I wasn't seeing that. So I wanted to fill that void. I wanted to talk about these issues and these ideas and create something. So I created a book, the big coffee table book. I see a couple of them out there. Photographs, mostly photographs, although there's text as well, of famous and non-famous people, everyday people. And you know, talking about what gives them joy and meaning in their life when you strip away God, if this is the only life you have. Because I think that's a really important part of the conversation to have, right? And I think it's a part of the conversation that most people don't see us having. And I think that's really, really important that we have that. And I see a lot of heads nodding, which is good. It's always good as a speaker to get heads nodding. No, we hate you throwing fruit. Or vegetables or whatever. So, to make the book, I went around and I raised a bunch of money through Kickstarter to do it. I made a book, took all these photos, and I interviewed everybody for the book. And when I was doing the interviews, I filmed the interviews. I have a film background. I went to school. I went to film school. So I had this in the back of my mind. How can I use this later on? If I'm doing these interviews, I should film them, right? So I filmed all the interviews. And then I had like 70, 80, 90 hours of interview footage. What am I going to do with all this interview footage? Weave it together into a documentary. Take it and make something, a different part of A Better Life, the film version of A Better Life. And I'm on a screening tour. I'm so excited to be here in Pennsylvania again. I was here last year talking about the book, and now we're here with the film. So excited to be back. Thank you to Brian for having me out again. It's just really thrilling to be back. And to be a part of this screening tour, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, to be here. I mean, the screening tour is going all over the world. I've gone to 4 continents, everywhere from Peru to China, to England, to Harrisburg. Sorry. I'm going to Cleveland too. Yeah, Cleveland, too. I have a postcard that says, Cleveland, at least we're not Detroit. Which I love. My parents are from Cleveland, so I feel I can get away with it. So I'm going to keep this brief because most people don't want to listen to me talk about a film they haven't seen yet because you haven't seen the film. So we're going to watch the film. The film is 90 minutes long, so I don't know if it's a little long, but I think it's good. 90 minutes long, and then afterwards I'm going to come back up here and we'll have a Q&A. You can ask me anything you want. If you're thinking of questions during the film, make a little note. If you have a comment, question, confession, anything, make a note and we'll talk about it after and we'll have a really good conversation. And I'm just thrilled to be here and talking about this different side of the atheist argument, which I think is just as important as combating these religious ideologies. So, without further ado, we're going to get on to A Better Life. Thank you. I'll just open up to questions. If you have a question, you want to come up to the mic.
First of all, remarkable cinematography and monumental editing task. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I take exception to Sean Carroll's statement that fundamental physics didn't help make a better iPhone. In fact, it did.
I'll tell Sean.
But my question is, who is your intended audience?
That's a really good question. My intended audience, I don't know if this is presumptuous, but it's pretty much everybody. I didn't want to make it just for atheists. And I also didn't want to make it for believers to convert them. So that wasn't my goal. I wanted atheists to watch it and think, oh, these people are like me, these are issues that I care about, this is how I look at the world as well. I also wanted religious people to watch it and feel like somebody was trying to understand at least parts of why people are religious in the first place. Instead of just saying, oh, you're so stupid, you believe crazy stuff. Saying, look, I get it. I understand you have these deep-seated desires and trying to understand the world. And I think you can really find common ground in that way. So, everybody, to answer your question. Other questions? If you want to just come up to the mic. Anybody? I know it's difficult speaking in front of people.
Hi, hello, I'm at the stall.
All right.
What was your... Oh, excuse me.
It's made for tall
Oh, that's
people.
easy, okay. What was your selection process for the people you chose for the movie? Like, how did you choose to use?
You mean just for the movie or for the book as well, or?
Well, how about both?
Okay, well, for the book, I guess we'll start there. I wanted it to be a diverse group of people. I didn't want it to be just the same old, oh, it's Richard Dawkins again. Oh, it's Christopher Hitchens again. Oh, it's Daniel Dennett again. I wanted it, obviously I wanted that, but I also felt you needed to have people that everyone could relate to as well. So I wanted a diverse group, and that just means diverse in all kinds of different ways. So some of the people are people I knew in real life. Just, you know, I have a friend who's in the book who's an airline pilot, who just happens to be a friend of mine. He's a commercial airline pilot, and he's in the book. Other people I read their works, like Dawkins or Pat Churchland, people like that. Alex Honnold, the rock climber, who you saw in the film, I saw him on 60 Minutes. That's how I was first introduced to him. I was watching 60 Minutes and I saw this piece on this guy who does free solo rock climbing, which is climbing without ropes. And I thought, oh man, if this guy's an atheist, I have to get him for my book. And it turns out he was an atheist, so it worked out really well. But in terms of then taking the book, which was 100 people in the book, I mean, I couldn't fit all 100 people in the film because you would be here a lot longer. So how many people are in the film? Does anybody want to guess how many? Just throw out numbers. 12, 20? You're really close. 17. That's, yeah, 17.
17.
I'm always interested. Yeah, I'm always interested as to what people think. So I had to cut it down. And it was just a matter of going through all the footage, you know, finding, okay, well, what works, what doesn't, what, you know, oh, this is a really good clip, oh, this is a really good clip, and just, there's so much good material that didn't make it into the final film. I mean, it's almost like I should make a director's cut or something that's 9 hours long that people who really are passionate about it can sit through, but it was hard. It was really hard making that choice. That's editing, right? It's a really difficult thing to do. More questions? All right.
Given what you just said, what would be your favorite outtake? In other words, what would be your favorite thing that you had to cut, didn't make it in? And then I noticed in the book you had Penn and Teller. Why didn't they make the film? Just curious.
Well, Penn and Teller Penn and Teller are an interesting ones because those are the two people in the book that I didn't do a video interview with. So that's why they're not in the film. I did phone interviews with them just because of their schedule being so crazy. So that was for the phone. My favorite outtake. I can't really think of a good one. Although I will say that all the footage you see of me walking around is really awkward to shoot. If anybody's ever done any kind of filmmaking or anything, because you feel really silly doing it. Because you have a camera here, okay, all right, we're doing, okay. And then you just go. And you look kind of like, oh yeah, interesting. Yeah. So it's really, you know, it works in the film. I mean, that's the funny thing one thing I love about filmmaking is very silly when you're doing it, but afterwards it works really well. A good example of that is if you've ever been on a film set when they're shooting like a big party scene, like a rave or something, and there's dialogue? You know, all the noise is added in afterwards. So you just have a room full of people just going. And, you know, the actors are like, I know, right? Yeah, it's amazing. So, you know, all this stuff is just, it's silly when you're doing it. That's just filmmaking. And one thing I love about filmmaking is it's just kind of silly when you're doing it, but it's a lot of fun, and you get to make something really interesting in the end. Other questions or anything? Yeah, come on up or down.
Do you am I audible?
Yes.
Do you personally know a lot of believers who watched the movie, and if so, what were their reactions by and large?
That's a good question. The friends of mine who are religious who've watched the film have told me that they really do appreciate kind of what I said before about trying to understand why they're religious, talking about the community aspects of religion, instead of it just being a true or false belief thing. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like I'm just saying, oh, you're wrong. It's, you know, at least trying to kind of understand where they're coming from in a particular way. In terms of, I mean, because they're my friends, they're probably less likely to be very, very religious or evangelical or, you know, hate gay people. You know, so I don't get that from them. I think people who are religious, who are very strident in their religion, who see it, don't necessarily know what to make of it, because I think they're so used to arguing against atheist arguments. So when they see this that isn't combative, it isn't you're wrong, you're silly, you're whatever, they're just, oh, what do I say? You know, what does Ray Comfort say to this film? I don't know. I'd be curious to know. Don't get me wrong. We should tweet at him. You know, but I don't know. I think evangelicals or Mormons, or, you know, wouldn't necessarily know what to say. So, questions? Nobody has any questions. Did you like the film? Yeah. Did you not like the film? Hi.
Hi. Have you been able to show this at any film festivals, or is it easy to show a film about atheists at a film festival, or is it hard to get in because it doesn't have a storyline to it?
That's a good question. There are documentary festivals. I have not submitted the film to a festival yet, just because I've been so busy, you know, traveling and doing all this tour stuff. I think that would be great to do festivals, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. But it'd be nice to do. Yeah. Another question coming up. I know it's daunting when you have to walk up to the mic. That's why nobody's doing it. Hi, you're brave.
Give it a go.
All right.
Yeah, two things. One, how is the film being distributed? Is it on Netflix or something like that? And number two, did you consider using kids or doing a kids version kind of thing?
First question, it is available on my website, theatheistbook.com. It's available as a streaming, you can stream it, you can download the HD version, or you can buy a DVD. In terms of kids version, I haven't really thought about that. I think that would require some editing, just to make it, I think, more entertaining for kids. And I'd have to take out all the fucks. There aren't that many. I haven't counted, but there are a couple in there, but I don't know. But that's a good thing. I mean, maybe it would be interesting to try to make a version that would be suitable for kids. Maybe something Camp Quest could be involved with. I don't know. Where's Amanda? Yeah, so that's good. That's a good question. Yeah. Come on down. Anybody? Oh, there we go. Yeah, we alternate tall, short, right?
Anybody wants to ask questions, just squeeze
no
here.
more tall people, so we're doing the short man.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. So did you have anybody that that you approached to do it, and then they're like, they're like, yes, I'm an atheist, but I'm not interested in being public with this yet? Or did you, by the same token, did you have people that that you approached, or that they approached you, and you were like, probably not. That's not. I mean, how did you select people, and were there any problems with that?
That's a good question. Yeah, there were people I did approach who I thought would be fun to have in the project. You know, people like Neil deGrasse Tyson or Patrick Stewart, people like that, who for one reason or another just weren't able to be a part of it. But both those two in particular wrote me back personally, you know, to say that, you know, they're too busy, or they, you know, didn't want to really go with the whole atheist thing right now, or, you know, which I can kind of, you know, I can understand. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing, and that's okay. I mean, there are enough people to fill the pages of the book and the film, so it's not like I was needing anybody else. But, you know, to get to your second question, no. I mean, everybody that I interviewed for the book, even if I was just meeting them for the first time, I was very confident that I really wanted to be a part of the project, through just looking them up beforehand and, you know, figuring out whether they would be a good fit or not. Because I really wanted to show this positive side, and so I wanted to pick people that could, I think, fill that role. So I made a point to do that. Yeah. So I was lucky. Maybe next time I won't be so lucky. But anybody else want to come down to the front? No? Oh, one more. Okay. We'll do one more. Or two more. We'll do two more, and then you can drink. How about that?
So, I'm kind of curious after this excellent film, what's on the horizon for you next?
Good question. Well, at the moment, till the end of the year, I'm doing screenings all over the world, different places, going all over the United States, Midwest, Northeast. New York screening is on Tuesday. Going to Europe in November, all different kinds of places, which is really great. And that's one of the things I love about showing it in different cultures where it's even more of a necessity. You know, when I was down in Peru, where, you know, Peru is one of the most religious countries in the world. People forget that, right? 97% Catholic. And when I did a screening in Lima, you know, we had people come 8 hours on a bus to Lima to come see the film. So, you know, just going to unique places and, you know, where it's not necessarily something that people would see, that would have in their, you know, local cinemas or whatever. So it's great to have that kind of experience. But yeah, for the rest of the year, it's just, my schedule's crazy, just going from place to place. I'm pretty much like, who's seen Up in the Air, the movie with George Clooney? I'm basically like a really poor George Clooney in that film. That's kind of my thing now. But it's exhausting, but it's also a lot of fun. I mean, having experience like that, coming here and meeting everybody here is really fun. I mean, I love the fact that we as atheists make a point to come together and have, you know, these fun times. And, you know, while conferences like this are about education, they're about learning, and they're about all kinds of different things, they're fundamentally about getting together and doing the same kind of things that people do in church, right? This kind of feels like church, right?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Amen. So I'm really lucky. Not blessed, but lucky. So, is there another question in the back? No? Yeah. Oh, yes, come on.
Thanks for the film, it was great.
Thank you.
I couldn't help but thinking while that Muslim woman was speaking, is there any concern for her safety? Because I could easily picture her being targeted by extremists because she's setting a really, really bad example. And I'm honestly concerned. So.
Yes, that's true. There is, not necessarily, I mean, the film didn't start it. She's been open and expressive of these ideas for quite some time now. As far as I know, though, she has a lot of precautionary measures to make sure that, you know, she's safe, but she does get threats, and that's definitely a concern. But I do know that copies of the book and copies of the DVDs have gone into Sudan. You know, it's gone into Saudi Arabia, you know, under the radar. And that's encouraging. It's one of those things that, and the funny thing is, I think that people might look at the book in customs and not know what, oh, it's a picture book. You know? So, it's, hopefully it's changing some minds just by being smiling, happy faces, changing some minds out there. If I can do that for one person, then it's all worth it. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the film.